Inventory is rising. Buyers are backing out of the contracts. Price cuts are climbing. Well, you've seen the headlines, but what is actually happening in the market? If you're not sure whether now is the right time for you to buy or sell or simply sit it out, this episode is for you. Hi, I'm Nicole, your Princeton area real estate guide. Today, we're looking at the real numbers, both nationally right here in West Windsor, so you can make a smart and confident decisions. Let's get into it. According to Redfin's recent findings, there are more sellers than buyers in the US market. That's a situation we haven't seen for a long time. However, here's the thing. Not all the market move in sync. The surge in inventory is largely concentrated in Sunbelt states, where new constructions outpace the buyer demands. Meanwhile, in the Northeast market, especially markets like our local market, the West Windsor market, tend to lag behind the national trends. This actually gives us an advantage because we get to see what's happening across the country and prepare ourselves for what might be coming next. If you have been enjoying watching the weekly updates, please like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on what's happening in the local market. Let's look into the real estate data now. According to Alto's research, we're firmly in the summer market now. Nationally, this means several things. Inventory is rising. Buyer activities are cooling down and pricing power start to shift. Let's take a look to see what's happening nationally. Inventory is climbing fast. In mid-May, there were about 878,000 single-family home listings on the market nationwide. That's 32% higher than the same time last year. We never hit 800,000 homes last year. However, this year, by the end of May, we already passed 800,000 listings. The last time we saw this level of inventory was back in 2019. That was the last normal market. New listings are also rising. Nationally, we saw 83,000 new listings hit the market last week. That was the highest number of new listings we haven't seen in years. This is the peak new listing season, and this trend is going to last for a few more weeks. However, not all listings are selling because there are sellers chasing May's price tag in June's market condition. And this naturally leads to price reduction. Right now, 38% of active listings have had price cut nationwide. That's way higher than the typical 33% we usually see and significantly higher than the same time last year. Please note that this is not because all of a sudden inventory flooded the market. Nationally, we're still below the pre-pandemic inventory levels. And the issue is buyers are thinning out, especially in those affordability-sensitive markets. Sellers need to realize that their May price tag might not work as we move into June and later months as there is more and more inventory. Pending sales are hanging on. When there are more homes on the market for sale, there tend to have more sales. Nationally, pending sales are around 414,000. But remember, this is the ceiling, not the floor. Historically, this time of the year marks the peak. From now on, expect the number to gradually slide down as we move in throughout the rest of the summer and into fall. So why is demand not keeping up with the new inventory? Didn't we all say that we don't have enough houses and people want houses? Well, simple. Mortgage rates have been around 7%. Until the mortgage rate come down to the low 6%, buyers are staying picky, hesitant, and stretched thin. Let's not forget, summer is vacation time. Schools are out. People are traveling. Housing takes a back seat. And this is regularly happening every year. Here, locally, according to Zillow's Market Heat Index, we're still in seller's market, and our data support that. Let's take a look. Inventory in West Windsor, inventory is rising. However, demand is holding up fairly nicely compared to most part of the country. Let's take a look at West Windsor's data from May. New listings. We saw 46 new listings in May. That's more than double last year's new listings. While it is still below historical highs, that's a sign of growing confidence. Pending sales tells us how much buyer demand is converting. In May, 36 homes went under contract, more than double last year's 16. This is a healthy rebound, signaling buyers are adjusting to higher rates and re-entering the market, especially for those homes that is in moving-in condition and well-priced. Homes sold, closed sales also picked up, and with 28 homes in May, up from 21 last year. We're not back to 30s or 40s like we saw pre-2020, but we're clearly on a trending upwards. Speaking of inventory, we saw 66 active listings at the end of May. That's a sharp increase from a 35 just a year ago, and nearly 4 times higher than May 2023, when there were only 18 listings. This is the most supply we've ever seen in West Windsor since 2020. If you are buying, this means for buyers, this means more options. For sellers, this means pricing and presentation matter more than ever. Let's take a look at days on the market. In May 2025, homes in West Windsor took on average 28 days to sell. This is nearly triple the time that we saw last year, when the days on the market was merely 10 days. Why is the shift? Well, inventory is up, and finally, buyers get more breathing room. However, don't mistake this as a slowdown. This is more of a market rebalancing. So what's the takeaway? The takeaway is that West Windsor market is not crashing. In fact, it's doing fairly well, and it's a recalibrating. Buyers have more choices. Sellers has more competition. And the strategy matters on both sides. If you are thinking about selling, now is the time to lean into preparation, pricing, and positioning. And if you are buying, this might be your window to land a home without a frenzy. If you would like to know what this means for your particular property or your plans, let's talk. If you're thinking about buying, so let's talk. My contact information is in the description below, and let's connect and make your next move happen for you.